You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Hello, and welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the business talk show, live here on Business Talk Radio and simultaneously streaming over Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your executive producer and host, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I am a certified coach helping people overcome anxiety. And with me today is my partner, co-host, and friend, Mr. Al Cini. Hi, Al.
Hello, Jacalyn. How are you doing today?
You're looking quite dapper in your outfit there.
I feel pretty good today. Let's take advantage of it. You look great as always.
Well, thank you. You know, I actually thought this was the dating show because I just did the dating show and I had on the red. So, we have a great show today. We have someone who is with us from Las Vegas, Nevada, and he is an expert in platinum real estate.
Well, listen, every business has been affected by the pandemic. Certainly restaurants and entertainment and travel and all those industries. But real estate has also been pretty severely affected by it, too. So I can't wait to learn how Rick maybe got through that, got around it, found a way to overcome it. I'm sure that'll be a great story.
It will. And I believe he's also changed careers also. But before we talk more about Rick, let's hear about you and your work at BCAT.
Well, with the brand and culture alignment, BCAT is Brand and Culture Alignment Toolkit, is about making sure that everybody has the same vision for their company. And we do it with a survey and a couple of simple techniques, and it leads to a little coaching program. And when it's all over, everybody's walking the talk. That's how we like to express it. So, and it's actually going pretty well. We're especially considering it's the holidays. We're getting quite a bit of interest and quite a few people are calling. And I'm sure it's because they heard about it on Rapping with Dr. Jack.
By the way, I know someone came up with a new tagline, which I think is absolutely fabulous. So it's Dr. J all damn day.
That's it.
Business Talk Radio Studio 6.
You have Studio 6 all to yourself, from what I understand.
Yes, I certainly do.
Talk about that.
It's
Dr. J all damn day.
All damn day. BusinessTalkRadio1.com, Studio 6. So,
well, you've been, in the time you've been doing it, you have created a lot of content. I mean, there are a lot of programs already there. And we're in Studio 6 right now, aren't we?
We are, yes.
Well,
yes.
So the live programs and the pre-recorded programs are all there, scheduled at different points during the day, all on Business Talk Radio Studio 6.
That's very true. And like a little kid, when I found out on Friday from Chris at Business Talk Radio, I had to go on at various times. Like, is it really on now? It's 3 in the morning. Is it on now?
Is it on now? Is it on now?
So it actually is on. And it's kind of fun to hear the shows from before and to know that the new shows are going up there as well. And also anyone who is a sponsor, of course, their ad gets played over and over again. And it also gets added to the Business Talk Radio loop for their other shows that they have. So
that's a big value add for sponsors for the program. They should really consider that.
It's a great time to be a sponsor. And by the way, when I'm running the board, we have so many things that I have to go through to actually get to the right one, because we have a lot of people who have given us their MP4s for sponsorship. It's really great. And thanks to you for a new intro, by the way. I'm loving that. The business.
I am digging it. I think the co-brand, the sub-branding, I know you've got our program, which is not just but the
business talk show.
Absolutely we got ours. And then you've got a dating program. Talk about those. I want to hear about it.
Well, we just had the dating program on today, and that was really kind of interesting. It's all about dating. So this was our third show, and I have a co-host, Lisa Manioki, and then we had on 2 women who are matchmakers, and their company is Matchmaking to a T, because one of the owners, her nickname is T-E-E. And then we also had another woman who owns a dating company, and then an experienced dater. So she's been through a number of dates and has some wisdom to share with us. So it was actually a fun program. And then that's today, Thursdays at 4. And then we have the original show Friday at 5, which is what I started in, I think it was May. And that's a show about overcoming adversity and stories of hope and inspiration. And then we have a new variety show, which is right after that at 6 o'clock on Fridays. And that could be anything. It could be juggling. It could be singing. It could be just, if you wrote a book.
Variety show. Oh.
So
Great. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, so it's all fun. But so our guest, Rick Turley, is in the house. I see him backstage there. I'm going to give him a wave.
How do you know him?
So I was actually referred to him by Mindy Thomas. And you know Mindy from RVN TV.
Mindy recently moved to Las Vegas.
She moved to Vegas, baby, and she loves it out there. She's having a blast. She sends me pictures, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here in New Jersey?
So this program is going to be the beginning of a huge tidal wave of people leaving 30-degree temperatures and snowstorms to move to, I don't want to call it Sin City, but let me call it Sin City because whoever moves to Vegas stays in Vegas, from what I hear.
Yes, and the Turley team are the ones to help you. So we have to get Rick out here. Let's take our first commercial break, and then we'll bring out Rick Turley from the Turley team, Platinum Real Estate. There's no reason to go anywhere, folks, because we have Rick coming out after this break, Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn with Mr. Al Cini on Business Talk Radio. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
And now, live on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the one, the only, Rick Turley.
Woo! Rick, welcome to the program.
Love it.
Listen, I want to start with a question. Why would anybody want to move to Las Vegas? There's nothing to do.
Nothing to do in Vegas at all. We absolutely are the entertainment capital of the world. So you definitely draw people with that. Where your friend lives, God, I can't remember her name.
Mindy.
Right?
Mindy.
Mindy lives. She lives out here in Henderson, where I'm located. Henderson's a bedroom community, basically outside of Vegas. It has the lake very close by, a lot of entertainment things going on here. But one of the reasons I moved here from LA is because I still had all the accoutrements of the city, meaning the Smith Center for arts and, plays and all that stuff. Obviously, the Strip is still the Strip. It just felt right for me.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It really is. So, but you didn't start in real estate, right? You've had a career change, and I'd love to hear about it.
I did. I actually started in real estate about 10 years ago. My brother was in it for 20 or 30 years before then, so I was exposed to it, obviously. But I started out as a furniture manufacturer. So I spent good 20 years or so doing furniture manufacturing on the West Coast. Then I moved to the East Coast, created a factory out there, kind of got to know that part of the country a little bit better. It's something that anybody can do, and that's always a good thing. One of the ladies I was introducing you to guys out here, she'd worked for the government for 30 years, retired, moved out to Vegas. I sold her a house. I want to try that, Rick, and she had the type of personality I knew it was going to work. So you can, it's open. It's definitely open.
Good.
Yeah, I just wanted to share, if anybody wants to text in a question for Rick, the number to text is 610-745-3113. And I'd like to say our operators are on standby, but you got me here on standby.
You're the operator. You're always on standby.
And also put comments on social media, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So Rick, are you residential real estate, commercial real estate, or both?
We actually focus on residential real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some referral partners that work in the commercial field as well, but our primary focus is on residential. Residential is blowing up out here. The city's growing leaps and bounds. We're starting to get to that point where the size of the city is big enough to where other businesses are looking at it. So I'm definitely exploring commercial a lot more right now.
Mm-hmm.
Google just built a big place down the street from my office. There's a ton going on in that field too. But our main focus is residential for sure.
When people move out there, what's their number one reason for doing it?
Taxes is the number one reason.
Really?
I hear that over and over again. We have no state income tax. Your business, if you do have a business, you don't get taxed till you're over 500,000 in income. So a startup business can get started here like mine did very easily. The other key thing is retirees don't pay tax on their Social Security. So now they have another incentive to come in. Our property taxes are some of the lowest in the nation. We have a lot of competition, obviously, from Arizona, Texas, Florida.
Sure.
And the number one reason I hear why I pick Vegas is because it has the city accoutrements, but also their tax rate is going to be much, much lower.
Wow. That's a real incentive.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to pack up my mother and head out that way. So. I'm going to Vegas.
The truck. I'll go get the truck.
You can do a show from here. Don't worry. It's all good.
So you mentioned retirees, and I think it is. I'm sure it's a great retirement destination. But how about families?
We get a lot of families. Our biggest amount of families are really coming from California. They're in the same kind of lockdown that New York was part of previously. So there's a big movement to get out of the state, to be a little less locked down. We are definitely cautious about COVID here, and the amount of people that can be in any building and all that stuff is restricted at this point in time, but it's not a full lockdown. You can still go to a restaurant. You have to make a reservation, and they make sure they're at the 25 to 50% capacity, depending on the governor's mood that day. I'm teasing him right now, but the casinos are still open. They're open at a reduced capacity, et cetera, et cetera. But at least they can get away and live fairly normally. The other thing is taxes. Go back to the same thing with young families. There are a huge amount of job opportunities here as well. Teachers, medical. I'm using those as a big example, but we also have a lot of firms moving in here from California to escape the regulations. Tesla's got that big battery plant up in the north part of the town. Google's moved into here. We've got Amazon all over everywhere. So those businesses are attracting those families because they can come and get a job, not pay as much in taxes, and actually have a better lifestyle than even what they were doing in California. And I'm from California. I hate to knock it too hard, but it's gotten very burdensome.
It's difficult there. I know. Where in California did you live? Where did you move from?
I actually grew up in the Arcadia area of California, which is in the San Gabriel Valley by Pasadena. So real familiar with that area. I spent a lot of time in Long Beach as well. My dad was from Long Beach, so I'm probably more known from Long Beach than anything. That's where my brothers and family still are.
But the greater LA, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
The greater LA area, I guess you're getting a lot of people in Vegas from there.
Yes, as well as the Bay Area. The initial wave was definitely all LA. Because they were just, it's a little bit more burdensome there, and there was a lot of business in the San Jose area. There's a lot of money to be made, so the higher cost of living wasn't as affecting them, kind of like New York City. But what's happened over the past year especially is now those businesses can't live underneath the taxes and stuff, so you're seeing a lot of them go to Austin. There's no doubt about that. Austin, another booming place right now for the tech industry. They're moving their plants and they're moving their factories and their offices, etc. over there. We tend to get the ones from the Bay Area that are now that are thinking on those terms, and they may be slightly smaller, but there's also big ones like Google. I mean, Google's spent billions here developing. So I think as it goes along, it's kind of, this city's hot right now, which is Austin. We were hot for a little while with them, and then it kind of goes back and forth. But
cool.
Phoenix gets a lot too. That's another place we're seeing a lot of businesses. They tend to get more of the San Diego area people because people think they can get back to there real quick. Reno tends to get the big portion of the Bay Area people. We get some of the fall off, And then, of course, Southern California, we're fed constantly because they can be back home with their relatives in 3 or 4 hours, so it's not that big jump, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy flight, if I remember, because I've done it a few times. The question I have for you is, and Al and I, we were lucky to get to interview a lot of people, and a number of people I know have already moved, but there are others who are thinking of moving. And when I suggest Vegas, the first thing that comes to mind is gambling, is the Strip. And so let's say you're not a gambler. I mean, you just shared a number of reasons why it makes sense to move there. So can you give a perspective to people out there who are thinking, I would consider moving there, but I don't want to be anywhere near all of that, that.
That's why I moved to Henderson. I don't gamble. I really don't. It's just not, it doesn't thrill me in any way, shape, or form. But I do like having the world's best chefs there. And so when I go to the Strip, it's an occasion to go see one of the better chefs in the world. Henderson, being away from it, you don't have all of that going on. So there's not that party atmosphere, so to speak. So it's more like a regular suburb, like Jersey or whatever from New York. The big, and like I said it before, you got the arts with the Smith Center. You have golf courses everywhere. So people that like to golf, people that like to play tennis, because our weather pretty much is year round. You can be outside. We don't get very much rainfall here at all, so there's no snow ever. But there's the golf courses, the tennis courts, there are lakes to work on. There's bike trails everywhere. Henderson's known for that. Their bike trails. That's like a big thing. Parks. It's a master planned community. It started out as a mining town, believe it or not, outside of Vegas during World War II. But now it's expanded into the suburbs. So it's got all the accoutrements you'd want of a suburb, so to speak.
And we have a comment from Mindy Thomas. Hello, Mindy. Thank you for watching our program. Indeed, you guys have the best food, service, and hospitality. No attitude out here. So
Mindy Thomas had to sign on just to brag about living in Las Vegas.
She's living the dream out there. I've seen the pictures. She's not coming back.
Good for her.
She has a beautiful place in Lake Las Vegas, which is one of our premier communities. There's a man-made lake there. It's right above Lake Mead. So if you want to go boating, you're 5 minutes away in Lake Mead. They allow electric boats on that lake as well.
Yeah.
Go out there, get dinner served. There's restaurants, shops, again, 2 golf courses, exercise clubs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So.
All right. So Rick, you say it's just starting to get on my nerves now, Rick.
All right, I like that.
I'm in New Jersey. You say it's the real estate market is exploding out there. So I need a bag of money to come out there, then, don't I?
No, Mindy's got a bag of money. We're just going to go stay with her.
Okay, good.
Her bedroom's ready in March.
How much is the house going to cost me? It's going to cost me a lot to move.
It's going to cost a couple of pesos. Not as bad as New York, okay? So it's not got or not as bad as LA. But because it is such a vital community, we have seen some great appreciation over the past 10 years. And I put that all on us bringing in business. The governor before our governor here now, that was his big push. He was in the office for 8 years, and he pushed for more and more business. So you really can get a house anywhere from 300 to around 600 fairly easily. Most of the people that come here are looking for that. We have tons of them available.
It's good.
But you also have real high-end luxury houses where Mindy lives is a perfect example. She bought a house for around $300,000. It's got all the amenities. It's got a gym thing in there, pools, et cetera, et cetera.
Great.
But right across and down on the lake, you can buy one from either 1.1 million to 7 or 8 million. Right. So yeah, and it's broken up by that. But the average person that really buys here spends in that 3 to 6.
Well,
good number. Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I came here back 10 years ago, though, so I'm going, whoa, man, the prices have gone up. That's just reality. As things get better and better and better, more restaurants, more places to go, more places to get a job.
Wow.
We built another new hospital out by where Mindy's living. And so, obviously that brings in more doctors and more nurses and more of those kinds of things. And as they keep adding on to that infrastructure, it just provides more and more opportunities. So it has jumped up the price a little bit from where it was.
Well, speaking of opportunity, what's it like in the singles field out there? Is there a lot of eligibles out there?
To be honest with you, everybody I talk to that's single says it's the worst town in the world for it.
Really?
I mean, that's frank. I think there's plenty of opportunity, and I think there's plenty of people, but because of the strip, the mentality of the strip, when they first come out here, they think they're going to meet people down there, and people come into Vegas not to be getting into relationships or dating. But definitely in Henderson, like one of the officers of our corporation, and I'm part of a bigger thing called Platinum, and her daughter is single, 30 something, but she's joined a Jewish federation where they get together and commingle, so to speak, and she's got gotten dates and stuff, so she's very, very thrilled with Henderson for that. But the Vegas thing will definitely mess it up a little bit.
Wow.
It's all right, Mindy. Keep looking, Mindy. They're out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So you brought up Platinum Real Estate, and I was going to ask you, for people who don't have a background in real estate and they're trying to figure out, who do I work with and what do all these delegations mean? What does Platinum Real Estate mean?
It's a local firm here. It's the biggest local firm. They're in the top 10, nationwide, even because of how much business they do here. It's mostly comprised of better agents that have been here a while, know what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. We've kind of shaken that up a little bit with my office. I have a unique perspective on how to do real estate. So I wanted a separate office where I could bring in people and train them and teach them the way I do it. And that has worked out well for me. But the overall, Steve Hawks, which he's been on CNBC, a lot of the top business talk shows, et cetera, et cetera. In a national perspective, he's part of this. Noah Herrera also is. He's been to Congress multiple times testifying and what's going on with the markets and stuff like that. So it's got that brain trust that I wanted. I think that's important because in the long run, you have to have a great reputation to do real estate if you're going to last in it anyway. And you also have to have the people around you that are pushing you to get better and better and better. And again, I'm not this, as you can tell, I'm not used to being on the TV thing or any of that stuff. And they push me into that thing too, because they go, your system works better than ours, Rick. So, you need to get out there and start, propagating it a little bit. And, this is one of a couple of things that I'm doing to do that.
Good. Happy to help. And, COVID screwed up so many people this year. The restaurant business is in the tank, at least in most of the country.
Yeah.
Travel business is all screwed up. What's it done to the real estate business?
It's actually made us boom. It's exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen in March.
Really?
I was ready to bunker down and, okay, we got to, lower the expenses, get everything in line. We could be in for a long, cold winter here. Instead, what's happened, at least on the West Coast, is people are rearranging how they live. You're home more. You're doing more of these Zoom type calls or that's what I call it, where you're online talking with people. The Inman Conference, which is kind of the national conference for people from every different company, and they have the better speakers from around the world that kind of more on the cutting edge of what's going on new in real estate. They previously always had all their conferences in a city, right? And now they can't, it's inside and they're broadcasting it all out to all of us, etc. That's what people are finding. And most of the businesses out here have gone to that remote working, especially the California companies, the Washington companies, or Portland companies. all the tech, I call it the tech alley there. It kind of goes the whole length of the coast. They're definitely all on remote. And what they're finding is people actually work better. They're getting more out of them. So they're going to be less likely to haul them back into the offices because the productivity as it is right now. I'm highly involved with Zillow, is one of my advertising things that I do. And the CEO on the last meeting we had, he's going, I don't know whether we ever need to have you guys more than once or twice a week, or maybe even once or twice a month into the office. And he's actually working from his home too. It made him change locations. Perfect example is Rich Barton. He's a Wall Street darling, so to speak. And he has moved from Seattle to Manhattan Beach so that he found a bigger home, because I guess they're pretty tight where they were in Seattle. Found a bigger home, and he can actually work with all his people right from there. And he's looking out at the ocean every morning. So he's a happy camper, right?
Wow.
That sounds great. It really does.
It's driving a lot of demand right now. We're seeing a lot of the same type of person as Rich Barton, and maybe they enjoy golf more, or maybe they are gamblers, or whatever is attracting them to us. Our luxury market is on fire. I've never seen nothing like it as long as I lived here. Really? I think this year we've done about 12 to 15 over $2 million properties for our team, and maybe one or two a year. So
wow,
that's a big jump, and I'm hearing that from all the other guys that are involved in it.
Wow. Congratulations, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
Happy holidays are out there in Vegas for sure.
It is. It really, really is.
We need to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors. We'll be back very shortly. Stay with us here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the business talk show with Mr. Al Cini and Mr. Rick Turley.
Right back.
Networking sucks and people suck at it, but nothing gives me more life than walking around and talking to people in an audience and really being able to identify, okay, I see where you're having trouble, let's work on fixing it. How do you help them? How do you provide value? My goal is to give them those tools to be able to go out and tackle that fear. Anywhere there's coffee is where I'll be. So I bring candy a lot to my speaking engagements. Like, of course that makes sense. I'm a little unconventional.
Ashley was very knowledgeable.
Very entertaining.
I learned a few new things, and to me that's the key.
What do you want them to say? How do you want to be perceived? You're going to get the most direct, tactical tips and practical takeaways when it comes to networking. These two here are super important. You'll remember once the conversation starts.
I love the tips that she gave out. I hate networking with a passion, so I feel like I can go through a meeting or event and not feel so uncomfortable.
When you're going to a presentation, you want to be educated. You also want to be entertained.
She was really fun and really personable, and everything she was saying was just very relatable.
She's got a lot of great ideas.
That will make you stand out so fast.
She comes across as someone that likes what they do and just doesn't try to sell you something.
Activity breeds results. If you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere.
Just made me want to start networking, which I never thought I'd say before.
A networking strategy that works for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Live from Las Vegas and somewhere in New Jersey, it is the Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn the business talk show on Business Talk Radio and social media. So, gentlemen, we were having quite a great conversation about what's going on with real estate out there in Vegas.
Out there in Vegas. I was going to say, too, after the big one, you guys are going to be beachfront.
Could be.
So, now is the time to buy. There's no question about that.
Yeah, that's true. That was one of the getting out of California. That's Jake's.
Well, there's a couple of reasons, but that's in the back of people's minds for sure. We talk about in New Jersey. We talk about how
why we're here.
New Jersey. Yeah, well, the state of New Jersey is pretty much the turnpike and the shoulders on either side of it.
Right.
But there is a lot to New Jersey that you can't even see from the turnpike. And I think when you're talking about the Las Vegas real estate market, first thing people think about is exactly what Dr. Jacalyn's talked about, and that's the Strip.
Right.
But there are parts of Las Vegas that you can live in and go to school in and work in without ever even seeing Harrah's or.
The way the valley's shaped, you could see them, but you're not interacting.
It's not where you live.
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of high rises around the Strip, and we do tend to have a heavy New York population in those that are used to living in New York City. They like the idea that they can just walk down from their high rise, boom, and go hit, Master Chef somewhere or what have you.
Uh-huh.
And that's definitely an attraction for certain people, but yeah. The family life, Henderson's a family town. It's like second safest place in the United States to live.
Right.
If you do research on it, it's the most bike trails, the most parks. The schools are coming along. So yeah, I like I said, I very rarely interact with the Strip other than, like I said, if I want to go see a play, I may hit one of those restaurants on the way down there because the chefs out of this world. They just bring in the best from all over the world. They really do.
So question I have, and I'm just going to be just the way I am, very out there. So November of last year, I went out to Vegas to run in a 10K for the Crohn's Colitis Foundation. I was so excited because I hadn't been to Vegas in a couple of years, and I sold meetings and events for years. So I was in Vegas a lot. And the one thing I found, and maybe it's because I was running and maybe because I'm 57 and I was running, could be both of those things, but it was hard to breathe because there was so much pot in the air. I was like, oh my God, like literally suffocating. Really? So when you're not on the Strip, is it like that? I mean, is there clean air?
There is clean air when you get back.
There is clean air.
Yeah, you'll have to talk to our girl Mindy, but yeah, it's definitely a different world. Pot is legal here. I'm not gonna, knock that. The West Coast is basically legalized pot from Phoenix to, I think the only state around here is Utah that's left that's not legal, Colorado, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, you don't want your kids exposed to all of that all the time. And one of the things that they do is, they don't want it in Henderson itself. It has to be on the outskirts of town. There's just no pot stores, none of that. So they go out of their way to make sure that they're not having that Las Vegas party atmosphere come into the city. There are some great hotels in town, though. And I recommend if anybody's coming out, try staying at the Green Valley Ranch Casino Resort there. You can have a little bit of gambling downstairs. You got 4 or 5 great restaurants inside there, but you got the pools, and it's a much more relaxed atmosphere. When you're on the Strip, it's a hustle bustle atmosphere. It reminds me of New York City. That's what I say every time I go there. And I love New York City. I like that every once in a while, but there's times where you don't want that. And both Summerlin and Henderson are very much geared towards the family and or retirees. So again, there's shopping malls. That's an entertainment for, just like in Jersey, and, there's water park spots and all those kinds of things that families can do with their kids. The sports teams are all coming in here now too. Of course, we got the Raider Stadium is finally built. Of course, we haven't got to use it yet, so to speak, but it's built, it's ready to go. Our college is playing there. I think that's going to help UNLV start to excel. One of the big things that I'm pushing for, and our realtor association is pushing for, is more education for the young families so that they have a place to go and get that master's or get that doctorate so they can further their career. And the medical school is finally finished being built. So that's going to help us kind of cover some of that medical stuff that we felt like we were short on. We didn't feel like we had enough hospitals and great doctors to keep growing like we were. And it's kind of weird because as a kid, when I was living in LA, I remember coming into Vegas and it was basically the Strip. That's all you see the lights when you were coming over the hill.
The old Strip. The old Strip,
right?
Yeah.
And I remember my parents would go, "Oh, well, you can only stay at this hotel because that's kid friendly. You can't go to this one or what have you," right? And they really have, I think we're at 1.1 or 1.2 million people now. So it really turned into a different thing. Henderson itself is a, one bedroom community basically, right? And I think we're at 350,000 residents now. So now you're starting to see some of that other infrastructure get done that needs to be done.
Wow. Dr. Jacalyn, that's about as close as anybody ever came to getting me to take up running. That whole idea that you can get a contact eye while you're running in Vegas. I got a kind of an appeal to it. But Rick, maybe you could talk
life out here, Al. Don't worry about it.
I'm on my way. But Rick, maybe you could talk about the climate because we're talking about breathable air. And what's it like to live there weather-wise?
It's hot as hell during the summer. I'm not going to lie. We live in our air conditioning during the summer. But spring and the fall are absolutely perfect weather.
Really?
It's better than even what I've had in California as far as that part went. One of the reasons why I stayed in California even after moving around the nation quite a bit was the weather. I mean, it stays at fairly mild temperatures all year long. We do get a little bit of cold during winter, like I was telling you guys before we got on. It was in the 40s today, but it warms up to the 60s by the time it's midday. So that morning chill's there, so you feel like it's winter. But when you get out in the thing, you can see I'm in a short sleeve shirt here. It's a good day. It's not a big deal. And that's the wintertime weather basically. It's that 40 to 60 range.
Nice.
Yeah, during the spring you get that 65-ish to, I'll call it 85, which may sound hot to you guys, but because we have such a dry climate here, it really doesn't feel like it. I get upset when it's over 110, which now I've been here 10 years, so I guess I've gotten acclimated a little bit. It really, really does. Those are the times where now, I want to make sure my car's air conditioner's working good, and I'm doing all that stuff.
So I'm keeping track of all the things that you've said, and so far it seems like it's a win-win-win. I have one last question about my little list of things. Now that we got through what about the creatures? Are there like
to put
four-legged creatures?
That's what they have exterminators for.
Scorpion.
That's what they have exterminators for. I pay $30 a month. The nice gentleman comes over to my house. He sprays around the outside, and I never see a scorpion. I never see a spider. I don't see nothing.
Nothing.
Good with that. And compared to the cockroaches that I couldn't get the exterminator to kill when I was in the city, I'm good with that.
A few of those in New York.
Okay. So it's all positive.
I know you live part-time in Florida. You've got no room to complain about critters.
We have those flying palmetto bugs. They're like this big, and they're like,
like small aircraft.
Right, exactly.
I shout Florida real hard. I shout Florida real hard. And because, it's close to California's climate. I thought in my head, it's a beach community. I'm a beach guy. Okay, let's look at Florida when we were trying to decide where we wanted to live for the remainder, so to speak.
Yeah.
And those big flying bugs, that did it for me.
No worries about
that. What's it like? What if you want to try it before you buy it? What's the rental market like?
Terrible.
Really?
It's terrible. Terrible here.
Non-existent or what?
It is. For the most part, it's pretty hard to locate a good rental for anybody. We actually stay away from that. I have a sister company, Black & Cherry, that does work with that. And they'll be the first one to tell you it's a tough rental market, guys.
Really? Okay. Because the rates are high, or because there's just not a lot of availability, or
there's just not a lot available, and the rental properties tend to be in neighborhoods that you may not want to live in.
Probably not want to live in.
Yeah. You know, I mean, we have workers that do rent, you know, and obviously as being a service-based economy, there's a lot of them, but I have a friend, her name's Perla Herrera, and she just focuses on getting them actual houses that they can live in as cheap as the rent is.
Really? Wow.
So that's where the scorpions are.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there are, you know, there's apartment buildings, and they're building new apartment buildings right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to alleviate the situation, but I think they're pricey, but that's just me. You know, we see studios at like $799 up to $1,400-$1,500 for a 1 and 2 bedroom one.
Mm-hmm.
Those newer ones where I would personally do a temporary residence.
Right.
There are a few of those available where you can get like a 6-month lease or a 1-year lease, but housing itself is real hard to get.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's good.
Then you'd stay at a hotel, and then
we stayed at an apartment.
Your team.
Yeah, we stayed in an apartment building when I moved out here. I found one that would do a 6-month lease because I'm not a fast mover on doing stuff, you know, and I wanted to test drive it, so to speak. Out by Mindy, they have right on the lake, they've got these buildings that they build up, and they call them condo-tels. And basically, you can rent them by the month or by the week or whatever you want. I send a lot of people out to there because it's very comfortable, et cetera, et cetera. But that way they're not locked into anything, and we can find them a house fairly quickly, usually.
Well, it sounds like you have really good hands-on white glove service for your clients. And I'd like to hear more about that. We have to take a break, and believe it or not, we're going to hear from Mindy Thomas. So
go,
Mindy, go. We'll be right back.
Great.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mindy Thomas, founder of Thomas Career Consulting. If you are dealing with the stress of having been terminated or being laid off, considering a career change, or you simply cannot land a job with your current resume, you came to the right place. My professional expertise centers on being trained in 2 distinct areas: career counseling and career marketing. I am also the host of Career Chat, a weekly talk show which appears on RVN TV. My end game is helping you to overcome the self-doubt, the fear, and the other barriers you are facing right now in a very tricky, perplexing, and complicated job market. .5 seconds. That's how much time it takes a recruiter to scan your resume. On top of that, electronic applicant tracking systems may reject you even if you have the skills, education, and experience. I teach you how to win when you absolutely have to. My resume writing practice is built on a personalized, collaborative, and strategic approach that showcases your accomplishments in a way to get you noticed. At the center of my strategy is identifying your strengths and targeted keywords to make you stand out from the competition. As a professional resume writer, I know what it takes to impress even the most discriminating hiring manager. Changing careers, launching a new one, overwhelmed or stuck in a dead-end job? I have more than 2 decades of experience as a Georgetown-trained leadership coach, resume writer, career counselor, and recruiter. So whether you're a student, a top executive, or simply struggling to find your own career identity and you're feeling lost, you can count on me to lead you through the journey of self-discovery. I will formulate a step-by-step plan that begins with the assessment of your skills, your interests, your values, and your personality, and then explore the opportunities that are best suited to align with you. In essence, what makes sense for you? With 25 years of business experience, I have been privileged to work with a diverse group of adults, from young high school students to the millennials, the Generation X, Y, and Z, and boomers. Let me put that to work for you.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. And that lady over there is Dr. Jacalyn.
I move around a lot.
Down there is Rick Turley, I know.
Hey, Rick, great to have you on the program.
With the sense of directions like this, I'd never find my way.
Look backwards, whichever way you're pointing.
I know. I have no idea what direction I'm pointing. We were watching Mindy's commercial, and Mindy Thomas, and she mentioned in a Facebook comment that your daughter was her real estate agent.
She was.
And maybe you can talk about your team.
Yeah, I will. We have a full team of agents over here. All of them have been trained by me. My daughter was the first one, obviously. And there's 7 or 8 of them now that we're working with. We try to have people from different areas, different backgrounds into the thing. So I've got 2 very, very local guys here that have lived here all their life.
Mm-hmm.
I got 2 people from Philadelphia, New Jersey area here. We got another kid that came out of Texas, So we've kind of tried to mix it up a little bit with that. And all of them have different personalities. Mindy's daughter is working with me right now on some of the advertising things. We're trying to see if we can make her an administrator, because Brittany's doing so much work out in the field now. She used to be the administrator, kind of taking over more of my sales stuff that I don't have time for anymore. And so it's worked out really, really good. She worked with Mindy very, very closely through that whole process. I met Mindy literally after the fact.
Wow.
Amazing.
So
after the deal was closed and
closed.
That's great.
And I told Brittany, and that's how we got wound up with Drea. I call her because I always mispronounce Andrea, and I call her Andrea. So she gets a little fluffy. She's got that East Coast thing going on. I call her, and I go, and I'm like, you'd be perfect for this. You got great skills on the backside here with the social media, all that stuff. And we're looking for somebody to come in and take over that kind of thing that Brittany was doing as well, which is administration, kind of keeping track of where we're at, et cetera, et cetera. We work with another consultant out of Arizona, and he's kind of tied all of our systems together to where they're all talking to each other. Good. So, it's a real strong team, real strong team. I'm very, very pleased how it's progressed.
Good.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. And we were talking right before the break about the fact that you take extra special care of your clients. Can you talk about what it's like to work with the Turley team?
We're basically a one-stop shop for you. We're not going to send you off to 5 different people to do 5 different things, et cetera, et cetera. What we've created is a team of professionals all around us. So if Mindy has a problem with her plumbing, I can call this guy and boom, he's out there that day and he's going to take care of it. Everything's based on making it as smooth as possible for the consumer, because the one thing we know about real estate, and I learned it's a lot different than selling a person a $2,000 dresser, is this is the biggest purchase in their life for most people. And so we take that seriously, and that takes a trust, an honesty, and integrity So we really, 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 really are picky about the people that we bring into the fold. Just like, Mindy's daughter, because we knew how Mindy was and, how professional she was. We knew that more than likely Drea is going to be very close to that, right? And so, and that's the same with all the salespeople. Honesty is key with us. I've created systems and bought systems from other vendors across the nation to make it fairly easy for them to do the actual transaction so they can focus their whole time on that relationship. And the relationship's what really counts. We're more laid back than the East Coast. I'll be honest with you. It's not,
Those East Coast people, what's wrong with that?
And I laugh at you guys because it's like, I don't know.
All right. You're making me uncomfortable.
I know, I've got 2 phones, an iPad, a computer.
No, I've got stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
So we get somebody in New Jersey who's shoveling snow as we speak. They just had enough. Especially these days, they can't necessarily come out and spend a lot of time house hunting. You were talking before the program about how you use technology now to show people real estate without them having to actually come out there and look themselves. Maybe you could talk about that?
Yeah, I will. So we've already got programs already set up where we've taken and we can actually zero down on the houses that would fit them as a family. So that relationship starts first. Know what they're looking for. Make that part of what they're doing so they're not wasting a lot of time on things that aren't going to fit them. No one needs to waste time, even us laid back Las Vegas guys. But the reality is then it's got videos and everything hooked right into it. Obviously, that gets you to a certain point.
Right.
At that point, what we do is we actually go out to the home for the client, pre-examine it, take videos of it so that they can see, or we put them on a FaceTime call if they've got, an Apple, what have you. We can Zoom to them right from the home as well. I like to take a video as well of the home because I think you get a lot clearer definition. So people that are detail orientated can see all the details very, very well. But we'll go through the home and point out all those things. This home has an open kitchen leading into the living area, so you can have your guests over and look out over, and here's your thermidor kitchen and and the more details you show people in those videos, the more comfort zone that they get up with it. So
great.
The hard part right now is the market is moving really fast. Here, like I said, business is great. So it used to be, even 6 months ago, that was plenty of time. You could book the flight after, et cetera, and kind of get houses kind of lined up based on those videos and based on all the stuff that we're doing ahead of time. It's gotten a little bit shorter of a market time on the market, unfortunately, especially that $300,000 house with the pool. That's a hot commodity. And, you may have to act a little faster than you're really comfortable with. Yeah, but at least you're seeing, here's the neighborhood. Here's what it looks like when you get up in the morning. You're going to be able to go out to here. The club's down the street over there. The restaurants are over here. All those things add to comfort levels. We have on our websites as well, besides the videos of the homes and all the pictures of it, but we also have school ratings, the parks, the businesses that are around it, et cetera. So you get a real good feel. We tend to like to have them come out to put hands on before they actually really purchase, but we get you to that point beforehand where, okay, you know what, Rick, I really need that Green Valley Ranch area of Henderson, or I really need, McDonald Highlands, or I really need Lake Las Vegas, so that your time on the ground is much more wisely used.
Great.
And that's a key factor right there. That really, really is.
Good.
Thank you for sharing everything that you have about why you should move to Las Vegas and work with the Turley team.
Definitely.
Rick, for people who are listening to us on Business Talk Radio, what's the best way to contact you and your team?
Either the turleyteam.com at the bottom or the 702-637-0640 number. We're always available. We have, if you're in the middle of the night and you think of it, don't worry, I got an AI chatbot that'll talk with you while I'm sleeping. So, we try to make it again, because there's a lot of questions that can be programmed into those. And they, the people will say, hey, can you we get this message constantly in the morning. I wake up and I'm like, I got to set up searches for 4 people, and they'll tell the chatbot, okay, hey, we're looking for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Not quite sure what area yet. I need a pool in it or whatever it may be. So it's 24/7. It's available to everyone.
That's great, Rick.
Yeah, it's nice to hear somebody doing really well and your family's involved. And I love the fact that Mindy brought us to you, and
nice.
It's all good. It's all good. So thank you.
She's really loving it. She really is. She's taking.
I know. She's constantly sending me pictures. She's doing this. She's doing that. I'm really happy for her. I think in her case, she went out to visit her daughter, and then that was it. She found a place and it's moving. So,
that's a driving factor too, because the younger people do crave that thing that they bring their parents along, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
We see that quite a bit. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Well, gentlemen, we have to wrap up our program. Mr. Turley, any final words for the day?
I just appreciate you guys having me on and being able to meet both of you. It's been great. I met Jacalyn a little bit on the phone, so beforehand, I felt comfortable with her right away. So, and again, we try to make everybody feel that comfortable with us as well. So, appreciate it.
Great
well,
meeting.
Thank you again, Rick. Great interview, and we'll see you backstage in just a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Well, Mr. Cini, another fantastic guest with a lot of really good information that I think is relevant and helpful.
And then my takeaway is that time is now, and the man is Rick Turley. So it was a great interview.
Absolutely. So how can people in Radio Land get in touch with you?
Al.Cini, al.cini @getbcat, getbcat.com.
I love that. Getbcat.com.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, my friend. I will see you backstage in a moment or two.
Thanks, Dr. Jack.
Thank you. And to everyone out there, I just want to thank you for your loyalty and for watching our programs. We really appreciate it as we're trying to build our brand. We are live streaming 24/7 on Business Talk Radio Studio 6, which I was just told today that will soon be renamed the Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn channel. How much rapping can we take? I'm not really sure, but I'm going to keep going. And we also have 2 fabulous shows coming up on Friday. 5 o'clock, we have our show about stories of hope and overcoming adversity. And our guest is Mary Fran Bontempo. And then we also have our 6 o'clock variety show with none other than who? Live from Las Vegas, it's Mindy Thomas. So stay with us. Thank you again for being here. We hope that you have a beautiful holiday season, and we look forward to seeing you again. Good night.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.